Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. On this edition, we are here to review Bioware's Anthem. And I have got the main man himself. He's had a little bit of an absence in 2019, getting to grips with life. But he is back with one of the most controversial games of the year so far. Cool. It's Toxic, Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How are you doing?
I'm fucking reek marvellous. The Reek Meister is back.
Yeah, I mean, you've...
Have I done anything this year?
I don't think so in 2019. I mean, the Dimponites will tell us if we're wrong, but he had a little rest, which is by all means fine, but I thought, well, he needs to start earning his keep. And you're out there back playing interesting games. I mean, this is the thing. Over that Christmas period, I don't know, we seem to sort of play games.
I played shit loads.
Yeah,
I've done a bit of a bit. I binned a lot. Like they're still on the back burner, but I played a lot and then
started up a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm still waiting from you. Pokemon Go, Starlink. Yeah. These are all reviews that have been squandered. And I could only think of two off the top of my head.
Games to finish. Here we go. This is games I've started, but this isn't just from Christmas. And I've got 39 games I've started and not finished. So
well, the most recent one's on there.
Yeah. Everything's on there, yeah. What's the most recent ones? But yeah, Pokemon.
Yep.
Resident Evil 2 Claire.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Still ain't gone back to that. Resident Evil 4 started.
Wow.
Starlink.
Yep.
Smash.
Oh, that's unfinishable.
So big. Diablo 3 on Switch.
Yes.
I think that's pretty much the newest ones. Oh, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, there's a link there.
Yeah, there's the link. And also, in my defence, we are now just started the March, and I'm 9 games completed this year so far.
Yeah,
so,
you've been killing it on the completed front. Has that been mainly backlog stuff, or is there anything that's coming this year that's...
How many ones there? This year we've got Leon's... Well, that shouldn't really count, to be fair. We've got Leon's Story.
Yeah.
Spyro the Dragon. When did that come out? Was that last year?
The trilogy? You've done all 3?
No, I've only done one. One.
All right.
Obviously Anthem.
Yeah, well.
And I suppose it's all last year's stuff. UFC 3.
Yeah, well, the trouble is, there's no right or wrong way to get rid of that backlog. I mean, I've done about 25 hours in Jurassic Park Evolution in the last week. So, I mean,
bound.
We're not far away from that.
Credits rolled. I suppose would it have a credits roll?
Well, interesting you say that. I believe there will be. You basically work to what you start off on an island. You complete that island getting a 5-star rating or getting a 3.5 stars the minimum, but I like to 5-star them, and it unlocks a new island to go to. So I think I've unlocked the final island.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Like, I'm definitely up for doing a review of it because I'm pleasantly surprised how much it's hooked me and whatnot.
Lovely.
But this is Anthem.
Yeah, we are here for the Anthem.
This is
only Dimp member to fulfil his promise.
Right. So this is I need to confirm this. Did Sir Dave not bother in the end?
Sir Dave, I believe, he purchased the EA Access Premier, which is the PC only version of EA Access.
That's like Game Pass, isn't it? That gives you the game on day one.
That gives you game on day dot. It gave you the early access. So this is one of the biggest problems of this. Well, not the biggest, but one of the main problems about this fucking game.
Yeah,
is this staggered release. So you had this VIP demo where we all got a little taster. Yeah. Then they give you this EA Access week early release, where it's unpatched, and then you got the day of release with a patch. So you've got fucking sort of 3 release dates here. But Dave bought I believe I don't know if he's doing it monthly. It's about £15 a month, or you can pay £90 for the year. I've got a feeling him and his mate did that.
I'd put my hand up. If that was on the Xbox, I would get that.
Yeah.
I know I would probably not even make the money back, but I like that. Seems like a reasonable amount.
Well, yeah, you get access
for EA's
to
games and to have them to play for that year. If you know what I mean.
not sure if you got because on EA Access you get 10 hours of Battlefield 5 as well. So I don't know if that's just the full game. If you get all that as well.
Yeah, I understand the Premier Edition is you get you get full access from day dot.
Right.
The EA Access that you can only get on console and the sort of like a lower tier on PC.
Yeah.
You get the 10 hours trial to start with.
Right.
After that, you either buy the game or you don't play it until it unlocks in the vault, which is usually 6, 9, 12 months afterwards. So there's a couple of, it's not simple.
Yeah.
And the release dates, like you said, are not simple.
Yeah, no. So you had this stagger. So my understanding is that he's bought that. He played it for the first week up until the release date. And then I was texting him and discussing it with him, and then he said he was going to have to take a little break or something because he had to do some Destiny stuff. And as far as I've seen on it, he hasn't gone back to it.
I love that. I love your stalking.
Yeah,
just for these moments. As far as I've seen, he's not gone back to it.
He's not. He's been taken over. I've seen what he has. He's got 2 games on the go. Lego with his son, and he's also been stolen by the Apex boys.
Yes.
That's all he seems to be playing. So I don't know if he's not binned it probably, I hope, but he's not gone back. So there's words to be had here.
Yeah.
Especially as the developers have confirmed in their last developer thing that they are working on crossplay, and it's a thing of when it's coming, not if it's coming.
Yeah, that's good. So, that'd be great. And so, Dave, if you are listening, and what we've just said there is bollocks, then come on and talk about it. Don't be scared, homie. He distanced himself from the verbal sparring, and I think he's concerned that I'll tie up in knots like I have done before. But if you've got something to say, come on. We're open source, and the fans love it. So that's the sort of what we're doing here. So
the only man.
So the Amph man. The
Amph man.
The Amph man. Let's start with the simple bits.
Simple, me. Yep.
Cards on the table, and this is not, unless there's some weird twist I don't know about story-wise, in which case do not spoil it, but there's no relation between Anthem and Bioware's most recent franchise, very successful and popular until Andromeda, Mass Effect. This is a clean break, it seems, from that, in terms of not only just in terms of story and setting and universe, but also in terms of the game's style, which we will get onto later on. But I guess the cards on the table, we have to look at Bioware as a developer. You mentioned you'd started playing Andromeda. Had you played their more successful and more critically acclaimed titles, i.e., I don't know, Knights of the Old Republic or Mass Effect trilogy, the original? Bioware for you, what are they in terms of a developer?
I always think they're the creme. Well, not creme de la creme. I always thought they were fantastic. I never played all of their main games. I played Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, which I loved. But I never touched any of the Dragon Ages, to my disappointment. I've heard they're very good. And I think that's all. What else have they done?
There's loads. Knights of the Old Republic. That's an old game, but
that's another one. Yeah, I bought that and played a little tiny bit. I'm saying 40 minutes of it.
Did you buy? I'm interested. Did you buy that? I'm assuming you didn't buy that at release. You bought that later on.
I got it for about 50p in CX on PC.
I did exactly the same thing, and
really?
I couldn't play it more than, I think I did 2 hours, and I was like, sorry.
Yeah,
I can't be dealing with that.
No, it was a difficult. I think I missed the boat on that one, but I've heard that's one of the best games for storytelling ever made.
Especially for Star Wars.
Yeah,
you look at what's happening now. Oh, blimey!
So pretty much my cards on the table is that it is just the Mass Effect. So I'm aware of their sort of storytelling, their character building, and that. No, this game is a new IP, so there's no backlog of games I had to play through. This definitely could be they could do a bit of a split on this. Like you think it's one thing, and then boom, all of a sudden, it could easily be part of the Mass Effect universe. But I think they wanted to distance that after the debacle that they ensued from Andromeda. But I have started that. I've put about just under 10 hours, I think. I'm surprised at how long I played it for. About between 8 and 10 hours I've put into Andromeda.
I love the combat in that game.
Yeah, I thought the combat was good, yeah.
And the flexibility you've got, I like that. I actually didn't mind the story. I didn't like the structure of the game too much, i.e. here's a massive world, here's a shitload of what seemed like side tasks.
Yeah.
Check them off, get a reputation meter up, then move on. But yes, a different review for another day.
Yeah.
Outside of your initial or your close history with Bioware, there's also things to consider on cards on the table.
Yeah.
And there's two things you don't have to completely answer solidly now.
Yeah.
But I have to bring this up because it would be stupid of us not to address what's occurred in the critical world of Anthem. And what I'm talking about is a little award we used to give out called the Poison of the Year Award. And it was reserved for films. Fucking hell, that group's really got to me. It was reserved for games. It was reserved for games where you was up for playing it and then the critical reception was really bad, or someone in the Dimp group said it's basically you were poisoned away from the game. And Anthem, a Bioware product, Electronic Arts new venture into a games as a service, at present sits on our opencritic.com official. They're the guys we go to because we don't care about Metacritic or game rankings. Stop putting different versions on different pages. But it's sitting at a 61, which if you translate that into gaming media and review culture, a 6, anything below a 7 is seen as bad these days, especially for something that feels big budget. And Bioware, who now have probably had 2 of these on the bounce that haven't reviewed the best. Yeah, you've come in and obviously you've got involved early doors with the VIP beta. No one really knew what was going on with that. No. And the review seemed to trickle out between the 10-hour demo that it was, or the 10-hour trial that was given, and the release date. And there was a few positive ones. But how's that been as a player trying to cope with, all your Twitter feed, which, I'm sure there's a lot of gaming stuff that all saying Anthem's shit, basically. Which 6 out of 10 is not shit, but the way that this world's is it's not good enough.
No, it is. Yeah, it's been difficult. No, it is. I'm surprised at myself how I've carried on and played through it, because normally that sort of poison settles in and it will just take over, and I'll. Fallout 76, when that first got announced, was actually quite hyped for that. As much as I'm not a huge Fallout fan, I thought an open world online Fallout game,
get to play with your mates, so that you could log on with paper and
exactly. I could enjoy the Comedy Brothers could be back together and water under the bridge and all that. So normally this sort of thing sets in, but I started playing this demo. And sort of had me doubts, and I thought, right, no, this ain't good. Then that's when the sort of negativity started coming out. People were going, it's got a lot of problems, isn't it? This ain't the game store.
Whispers.
And then I just kept playing, and normally, I don't know. Normally I'm put off straight away, and I think, this ain't for me. But I was playing it more and more, and I wanted to keep going back to it. And I was thinking, I like this. There's something here, and I really like it. And then, the VIP demo stopped, and I was watching videos on it and stuff when we couldn't play it. Then there was this early access, and I thought, no, I think I'm going to commit to this, even though I'm getting shit on the group, shit on Twitter, and even other conversations I'm having about games with different non-Dimp people. They're giving me jip for buying this game.
Yeah.
Just getting... And now... I will call it a hate wagon. It's hard to defend the game.
This is how this. You know exactly how. you and Paper might rub each other the wrong way sometimes, but he had this exact thing with No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
The hate wagon that he had to endure after committing to it and dying on that hill, as people say. He was on that hill and he went, "No, I'm here with No Man's Sky and I'll die with it."
It is almost a parallel universe for us. I'm on that hill at the minute. But yeah, I think it's always been in the back of my mind, like, and I do understand the hate, the negative feedback, but I do also feel that there is this hate wagon, and there's a lot of sort of negativity about it that's unjustified. I've seen reviews, and there was one review that was moaning that there was raining too much in the game, and I was like, I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with this game, but when they're nitpicking for things like it rains too much, I'm like, right, there's definitely a hate. And, EA are not the most likable company. They were voted the worst company in America for like a few years running. Yeah. So they've got that to deal with. It's easy to kick a man when he's down, but it's also hard to defend it. I'm not saying it's the perfect game. It's got its faults, but I do think there is some positives here, and that positives grabbed me, like I say, and I managed to sort of shut everything out and just think, right, I'm not going to think about the critical response that it's got. I'm just going to play it and try and sort of review it. Like, I was taking notes whilst I was playing it because I knew I was going to be doing this, and sort of just weighing it in my head, doing like a sort of pros and cons list and thinking, well, I'm wanting to play this, so I obviously think there's some good things. So I need to sort of try and justify those. But yeah, I do feel there is a hate wagon. It's been hard to take it on the chin, as I'm such a biter. That's the trouble.
Yeah, and it doesn't help when there's fucking prats like me, Paper, Logan, everyone who's not bought it going, it's fucking shit in it, Adkins. Have you even played it? But it's shit in it, Adkins. That is the most frustrating thing when this happens, for sure. So the last point I have to ask, and this is, I don't know if we've got a doctor. No, we haven't got the doctor here to diagnose this, but we need to ask the question, and only the most hardcore Dimp fans will know what we mean by this, and I will explain afterwards so we can get new fans involved. But is there have you been contracted with Destiny syndrome?
This is a condition. It's a condition that does happen. You can obtain this disease,
and it can spread.
It can.
I've seen it fucking spread in them groups.
Yeah,
I've been sitting there drinking my wine and gone, Christ.
Yeah, I think I am suffering a little bit from it because the commitment I've made. I'm like, right, I've got to try and justify this commitment. I've paid money.
Yes.
And I've spent 35 hours on it so far, so I need to justify what I've done. And because there's been this backlash, and I'm, like I say, I'm such a biter that I'm, like I even said in the group, I've defended this game more than I've defended my wife. But yeah, I could see a little bit of it, but I think it's good. I think there's something there.
That's fine. For those that don't know what we say, when we say Destiny syndrome, I mean, it all stemmed from the original Destiny, and basically the long and short of it is, before I start babbling, because this wine is getting to me, is that there were people buying the original Destiny, and they essentially played that game for hundreds of hours, even though it probably didn't deserve it. It's all subjective, but we then named it Destiny syndrome. It's like, what's game of the year? Destiny. Well, it's not, is it?
Yeah.
It's not just because you put 400 hours into it because you had nothing better to do. It's not it. So when we ask if anyone's been diagnosed with that, that's what we mean. Is there? Are you now treachery into? That's not even a word. Are you going into fanboy territory and defend it? Because in some cases, and this happens, this is why, and this is a wider point, because I think that this is lost in modern game media.
Yeah.
A lot of the media, the vast majority of them, do not have to put down their hard-earned money to pay for the game. So all they ever judge it on is, we've been given this game to play. Was it a good investment of my time? Do I recommend you buy it? That sort of stuff. When you physically had to, put down money that you've earned yourself, it does. You do feel like, even if it is complete garbage, that you want to get something out of it. And there's a disconnect there, I think, between the media and fans, because you will undoubtedly have people in the media saying this is garbage, but you will then but you will then have the fans that have put their money into it and played it and they're enjoying it, and you can't say they're wrong because they're enjoying something they've bought. Yeah. So it's not as cut and dry as, that the person's fucking delusional. It's a different take on things. And here at Dimp Digital, we've never been gifted a game. No. Like a full game to review ever. So we've had to, every single game we've played, we've had to put money down for and play. And, and it's, it
is difficult.
Yeah.
Because, especially again with this fucking release, the staggered release of this game. It's not a cut and dry. The game finishes here. It's an ongoing game as well. So, we've 1st of March when we record this Friday night. We've had to draw a line in the sand and say, what's it like now? But in 2 months, it could be very different. Well, this is the thing. This was a lot of my reasoning into why I've committed to this game, is because on this time when I weren't playing it, I was reading about it, and I don't know. I'm sure other gaming communities and things that do the same, because I'm not with them. But this is definitely the first game that I've been this sort of delved into the sort of development of it, and I now followed pretty much most of the developers, or like the vocal ones that are on Twitter, and they're responding to almost every question that gets asked. They're giving you, they do weekly update videos telling you what they're working on and what's coming and what's getting fixed. They're asking what you want to be fixed and stuff. So it's like it's almost like I'm buying a sort of a promise. So yeah, with that in mind, that is where the Destiny syndrome comes in. Because
it's important to flag that, only because that's how people ingest games these days, and that's also how games are also weirdly developed. It's like, we'll get this out, but then we've got a roadmap for 6 months. Already I've seen the Division 2, they're like, here's year 1 roadmap. It's like, what? Okay, that looks really interesting in 12 months.
Yeah. It does seem weird, because if you get that on day dot, you go, cool, I've got another year to wait until I get
the fucking survival mode I really wanted.
I think that needs to be taken into consideration with these games as well, because this set of games for service.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? Yeah.
Yeah.
Games for service, yeah.
Games as a service. Gas.
Gas. So when they're making these comparisons...
Peak Gas.
These reviews that are coming
Rodney.
out... They're giving it the weeks.
The Mean Street Posse, that is.
I was trying to think what that was in the back of my mind. What is that?
There's another one, I think. It's Shane McMahon, Pete Gas,
yeah.
Rodney. I don't know if there was another one, actually.
Blue me.
Let's call them the Mean Street Posse.
Well, Prince Albert, nah.
No, not Prince Albert. TNA, Testing Albert.
That was it. We digress. What was I saying?
Go
on.
I don't know what it was.
Game for service.
Yeah,
that's it. The reviews.
Pete Gas.
The gas. They're being compared to Destiny, obviously because it's a game for service. It has elements that are similar to Destiny, but people are comparing this to Destiny as it currently is. So this is Destiny that's been out for 3 years. In their defense, this game shouldn't be in the state that it is, because they've witnessed the 3 years of development thing. But you cannot expect a whole new IP to be of that quality that Destiny is currently in its. You can make it good, but until it's actually out there and millions of people are playing it and they're getting feedback, I feel it can't be compared that close to a modern day Destiny, which I feel it was and still currently is being compared to.
Yeah,
it needs to be judged on its own merit, and that's what we need to discuss.
and that's what we're going to do. I mean, what I will say, and this doesn't have to be a point we've got to discuss for 20 minutes or so. What I would say is that we've got Anthem, and look, this is what the critics say, so this is it. Just take it. This is what it is. Anthem 61.
Yeah.
Day dot. First 2 weeks of release, give or take. That's what we're saying. OG Destiny got a 74.
Cool.
Destiny 2, different game, 84.
Cool.
So, but we use Destiny as the barometer because it's a new IP at that stage. It's still a good, 13 point difference. And I think, and maybe we'll get into the reasons why you feel that's happened.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily down to the game, but perhaps how rough it can be at points. I'm not making the assumption, but it'd be interesting to get into that.
Yeah.
Let's get into the rundown of the game itself.
Yeah.
And really, what we're looking for here is setting the scene for the game's narrative or story, because it's a brand new IP. There's got to be exciting things happen. I hope there's exciting things happening here from the guys that have given me Mass Effect 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Where I jumped into the VIP beta and they say this is midway through the game, don't worry about it, basically. And I was like, good, because I don't understand what's going on. But you've played the campaign from start to finish.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't give away what happens, but what is the story? What are we dealing with here? And I don't know. I don't even know anything about Anthem. Break it down for me.
So, okay. So, the story of Anthem, it's this open world. What's it called? Games for service, open world game. It's essentially an MMO because it's always online. The whole thing's online, but it's not as big as an MMO. You know, you're not getting your.
Dave will go mental at you labelling that. Because he'll say, "Where's the word massively in that?" And you'll go, "Well,
that's it. There is no MMO, but it's just an online world.
A shared online world.
There's not any. I wouldn't call it an RPG. You don't have role-playing elements, and basically, it's about this. The story is it can be confusing at times just because of the things that are involved, but basically I'll dumb it down dumb it right down. Just imagine if Biff needs to hear what the story is and then produce that. Exactly. It's a hard job, I know. Yeah, it's one of these games like my friend my friend Yellow Boots, we call him. he plays games, but he's not like a hardcore gamer. You know, he's a FIFA gamer is what I'd call him. He just plays FIFA. Out of interest, do you think he would play and enjoy Trials? I was wondering that today. I asked him. I'll tell you the games he's recently completed, and he might think, he's completed Red Dead Redemption 2. He's completed that, completed that. GTA 5. Bloody hell! Rockstar and Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So I'm surprised he got through that. In all honesty, yeah. So he's learned the ropes. Exactly. So he said to me, "What shall I play? What are you playing at the minute?" And I said Anthem, and he said, "Would I like it?" And I said, "No, it'll be too geeky for you." So because it is quite a geeky story. So basically, I set the scene. It's like it's an unknown planet. I think it's and humanity has been overtaken by these people beings called the Shapers. And there's this element called the Anthem of creation that's this all being and can change the world and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, there's things that happen called a cataclysm that sort of this is about to end the world or whatever. And that's where the game starts. So you're in this cataclysm. It's kicked off already? It's kicked off. You get kicked off literally straight on the word go. Boom, you're in part of it. And yeah, so humanity's pretty much on its last knees, and there's this pocket of little humanity in this world, what I'm on, called Bastion. That looks like something out of Avatar. Not the Overwatch character Bastion. No, Bash. They're the same. Yeah, Bastion. Yeah, same sort of thing. But they have now huddled together and living in a little community. And from this Anthem of Creation, there's like these things called Shaper relics, where they're able to make new technology. And from that, they've made these suits, these exoskeleton suits called javelins, which they can now get into and fly off into this world and battle the enemies and foes that are trying to take power of this Anthem of Creation. So basically, it's Star Wars.
It's Star Wars with Steve Backley as Javelin, throwing a stick.
That's it. You've got this. We call it the Force. You've got goodies, which are us in our little flying suits, and you've got the baddies who want to use the Force to do bad to the world. That's
Backley, Stephen James Backley, the javelin thrower, is an OBE, all of the British Empire. So let's
cut that down.
Well, I don't know why Bioware are using the word javelin in vain when they've got him sitting on these shores,
sitting there ready. So that was a lot of the thing was saying that the story was too confusing and things. It can get confusing, but with these type of games, the gameplay and the hooks of the gameplay and things certainly outweigh the story.
Oh, agreed.
I don't think people were playing Destiny 1 and going, fuck me, that was a narrative-driven...
one of the worst stories I've ever played through.
I can't even tell you now what it was about, the first game.
Yeah, I'll tell you why you can't tell you what it's about, is because at some point, that fucking dickhead I think he's called the Speaker, says, I could tell you what happened before.
Oh, that's right.
But I won't. What do you mean you won't?
Yeah, that's
Rich
true.
Backstory. It's a brand new IP, Bungie. Anyway.
So, I'm not going to say it shouldn't be.
So you're not playing Anthem for the story at this stage?
No.
Although
I think it's a strong enough story. I don't think it's not winning any awards here. You're not coming here and getting fucking...
Is it beating God of War and Red Dead?
Not a chance, no. But in my book, it's beating D1. And
is it beating Trials? That's the main...
That is... Trials Blood Dragon, mate. That is the story of the year, that is.
Is there any crossover between Trials of Blood Dragon and the Far Cry Blood Dragon? Or is it...
Yeah, that's what the story is about. It carries on from the Far Cry game.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
If you've not bought any Trials games, go and get them instead of Anthem. So I'm going to say that. They're just great fun.
They're great fun. But, so... Yeah, you're not playing these games for the rich story, but I do feel it is a good enough add-on. It's good, not great, is what I'm going to say for the story. But, yeah, just remember, Star Wars... It's okay. It's okay. People are saying it's too confusing. I think that's being harsh. It's not too confusing.
No. And this is not mean to be insulting, but if Adkins can understand
exactly,
you've got to be picking it up.
Yeah, I was happy to follow it 30 hours, and I didn't go, what's going on? It isn't anything new. It's generic. It's whatever. It's good, not great.
No, as ever with these games. The day they fuse it together properly is the day that it blows up, but it is just a vehicle to put you in different locations.
Yeah.
And for lack of a better word, they want you to finish the game so you can start playing in some ways.
Yeah, yeah.
If they've got the balls for that, but I mean,
well, this is one of my concerns for the game because I feel you have two type of players that are playing this game. Yeah. You've got the me's, where I'm going to play this for 40 hours. I'm going to run through the story. I'm going to enjoy it and soak it up and dabble in a bit of endgame and put it down. And then what you've got is the Sadaves of the world that, they couldn't give a fuck about the story. They're skipping cutscenes, they're skipping dialogue. They're steaming through the story to get
to... They're breaknecking it.
They're breaknecking, basically. They're breaknecking it, and they're getting to the end game, and they're grind. Now, I'm not saying,
fucking wall, I bet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say that's the wrong way to play it because that's what these games are for. But I don't know who Anthem is their core demographic. I don't know who they're pandering to. Whilst I was playing it, I felt the game was aimed to me.
Yes,
my realm of people, And I was thinking that the people that will play it is the Destiny boys, and they'll play it the way Dave wants to play it. And I feel that that's the wrong way to play this game, even though it's in that class of games that should be played there. So it does have a bit of an identity crisis.
Right.
In the terms that in its current state, I don't think it's ready for Dave's way of playing and is for mine.
So it's not strong enough for a hardcore to sit there and grind it out.
In its current state, I don't think it's ready for that. But if you was playing it in my mindset and playing it as a AAA, an enjoyable game, I do still think of it as that type of games for service. And I've finished the story and stuff, and now I am dabbling into what Dave would be doing. But that wasn't my mindset from the beginning. I didn't go into this game with that sort of plan. And I think that does need to be considered, but I don't know.
Are you telling me, as someone who primarily loves single player adventures, and I enjoy the social thing, but the less time I can spend speaking to people, the better. I'll play against your ghost on trials. That'll be me. That's all we need. Does this, I guess, in that realm, as someone who's used to playing single player stuff and likes its story, likes its world building, I guess the simple question is, does Anthem deliver that to a high enough standard?
I wouldn't say high enough standard. It does to a passable standard. Yeah, it does. And it comes down to the way you play it, because I do feel when you are playing it with friends, you're sort of babbling over the top of it, and you're not soaking it in as much as you would on your own.
Of course, you're right.
But if you're playing it on your own, I think it does a passable thing of soaking you in, but not of a high quality standard, I would say.
Interesting. That's an interesting point. We'll move on to the presentation and performance, which includes not only how the game looks and how it performs, but I think in this game's instance, there's a high focus on connectivity. Yeah. I.e., can you connect with other players? Can you, if you want to, set up parties and things like that? Yeah. Because one of the things that popped out of the VIP demo we played together was that on that Friday and on that Saturday, it was fucking chaos, and we couldn't hardly get into a game. We eventually did, but it wasn't easy. During your playthrough from early access till this Friday, how was playing the game and connecting to other players? Was it something that was sorted, I guess, is the first place to start?
It was sorted, quite rapidly, I would say, as well. That demo we played, because there was two, weren't it? We played the early access one because we all got cut, or I got a secret code, didn't I?
That's it.
Managed to get some people on, so I played that. It was the fucking worst.
That was diabolical.
That was absolute diabolical. I think I got it. It came out on a Thursday night or something. I tried all Thursday night, all of Friday, and couldn't get a fucking single game going. Finally got it on the Saturday morning, and we managed to get in. And then one of us got booted, and it all went to pot. Then they did an open VIP demo. I think it was the weekend after, and that seemingly helped. It was better. We was getting in, but you was getting booted every now and again.
Right.
Then this early access comes out, which is a patched version again. The first early access version week that you're getting this 10 hours worth. Connectivity was good, but where they were still feeling out the game, you were getting booted sometimes from servers, and it was a frustration because you'd get into the world, and then all of a sudden it would be giving you a 2-hour countdown saying you've got to get out. Yeah, where they were testing the servers to see how much sort of stress they could take, but they had to kick you out so you could restart. So, that's not.
This is before official release.
This is before official release. This
I mean,
EA access.
Go into that early access at your peril, I guess.
Yeah,
in a way.
And this is why I think it's just been nothing but damage in doing this stagger release.
Not ideal.
But I have to say, day dot, when the release date comes, day one patch, 22nd of Feb.
Yeah.
I don't think I've might have been booted once, maybe, but I've not had any connectivity problems. You know, matchmaking has been fine. I haven't played with real friends, but randomers. I played the entire campaign with randomers, and didn't have any connection issues. I didn't get caught out or anything. Wakering Internet's been on top form, so no lag issues, anything like that.
Yeah.
But I haven't tried with party friends and stuff. There was no chatting. I didn't talk to a single person.
No.
But yeah, connectivity wise, they rapidly sorted that out, and I'm happy to report that is of a good quality now.
Excellent. So no performance issues on that front, because that was one of our big concerns when we did our 50-minute deep dive into it.
Yeah.
Presentation wise, so graphics and how it looks. You're playing, correct me if I'm wrong, on the Xbox One X.
Correct.
The world's most powerful console. We have, I will say that when we saw this at E3 last year, I thought that looks bloody impressive.
Oh yeah, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, from a starting point, does the game live up to, because we know that it's going to take a dip, but does it live up to those expectations? And then are there any other issues that you've noticed whilst playing in a live environment?
It's a difficult one to answer, because there are, again, I go back to this hate wagon, and it gets you know, it deserves it a bit, because there are significant downgrades to what we saw of that E3 demo. That was
an unfair question. I shouldn't have said that, but
no, I think it's deserved, because these games do get it. You know, it's of the same ilk as, I wouldn't say it's nowhere near as bad, but
as Watch Dogs.
The Watch Dogs. I go back to that. Watching that looked like a completely different game. This doesn't look like a completely different game, but you're not getting that finesse of how good that looked. You know, it's like playing a game on the PC when you chop down the settings. That was on Ultra, that E3.
Potato mode.
Yeah. And this is on medium, I'd say.
Okay.
So, you know, you're still getting good graphics, but you're not getting that ultra finesse and thinking, fuck me. But I've got to say, this is a fantastic looking game. The world just looks believable, exotic. Like, the foliage in the world is some of the best I've ever seen. It reminds me of like the world in Avatar. You've got like the rocky landscape.
It's all making sense now.
Yeah, you've got the lake, you've got streams that you can go down, waterfalls everywhere, this lush green mountains, weird fucking old metal constructions that you can fly through. The terrain in the game, like that, the verticality of the game works so well because of your flying javelin suits. That it is just a gorgeous looking game in native 4K on that Xbox One X.
Is it?
Native.
Bloody hell.
Confirmed from them not Dimp boys, them.
We're not doing that.
Dimpable Foundry, Digital Foundry confirmed, a full native 4K running on the Xbox One X. But that native 4K does come with a few hiccups, unfortunately. The biggest of all, I would say, is what we call texture popping. Now, for none of you, for the boys that have never, will go, what the hell is texture popping?
For the biffs of the world.
For the biffs of the world, what that is when you are going through this world, walking, flying, whatever, the game sort of loads in the detail of what's coming up ahead of you. You can see, it's difficult, like in your view, it's probably a couple of inches ahead of you, but in the game, it would probably be, I don't know, a few 20 foot or 30 foot.
Yeah.
The textures that are in front of you will start to pop in.
Yeah, you can just...
That's
a plant might just suddenly appear in front of you, that sort of stuff.
Well, when done well, that plant will sort of gradually, slowly pen, and you won't even notice
You won't
it.
notice.
No, not at all. It'll be so far in the distance that
Red Dead.
Exactly, yeah. You wouldn't even know that that's popped in. You just think, oh, that's always been there, and that's the world. They're clever at how they do it. But when it's done poorly, because of how gorgeous this game is, you get what's called texture popping, and that's just when this plant will just go pop, and you'll see it blatantly as day, and it will stick out, and it will annoy the fuck out of you because you'll be flying through this world, and things will just be popping, pop, 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 and it pisses you off because it sort of takes away the immersion. You know, that's the biggest thing. These games, you want to be immersed in this world, and it's a rich backstory of a game that you want to get immersed in, and you've got this little popping in, and that was the biggest thing for me, that it's so abundant, and yeah, it definitely takes the immersion away, I feel.
That's a bit of a stinker. How outside of texture popping and things like that, it seemed, and this is just an anecdotal bit of evidence, it seemed like during the VIP demo when I played it, the frame rate wasn't that steady.
Yeah.
Have they ironed that out on the Xbox One X? I don't know what it's like on PC. Dave's not here, but is that still an issue for at least the Xbox versions? For
the Xbox version that has been patched, it is, I'd say it's at about a 95% corrected.
Okay.
For the majority of it, it took till the full release day. So we had the second open beta, then we had the week release, and it was rough. Then they had a day one patch that included a improvement of a frame rate improvement thing, and like I say, it's at about 95 now. When you're in a mission and you've got all 4 javelins going in here, and you're firing off all your guns and all your gear and stuff, and there's particle effects blowing all over the shop. That's when the game gets choppy, and I think it starts to tank. But flying through the world, and certainly walking through the home world, which was where it was at its worst, that's now been sorted and is a steady 30 FPS. So like I say, about 95%. But what they've done is they've taken away, they've got an adaptable V-Sync, which is another PC frame. I can't exactly remember what the terms of what it does, but it locks the frame rate, so you won't, so you're not getting what's called screen tearing. Well, because they've removed this, if the frame rate does dip, you do get this tear in a frame, and where you see the image sort of just literally tear, it will go out of line.
Yeah, it's like basically what happens is like a line comes through the screen, doesn't it? It might be the top, it might be the bottom, it might be the middle, but it's where the frames are essentially trying to catch up to what's being output. There's a technical thing. That's if you're on a PC, you'll have things like G-Sync or FreeSync, depending if you're AMD or Nvidia, although Nvidia do now take AMD FreeSync as well. But those monitors that have that technology, which prevents tearing, or is supposed to prevent tearing, are expensive. And obviously most people are probably playing, if you're playing on a console, you're playing on a television that doesn't have that, so it'll have the standard vertical sync if it's there, but if it's disabled, you'll sometimes get lines through your game if you tilts rapidly and things like that. It can be quite distracting. Yeah,
that's it. It doesn't happen much, like I say, because of the stable frame rate now, but like I say, when it does dip in frame rate, you'll notice the screen tear. So that is another dent in it, but I don't think it's enough of a distraction. It doesn't do it enough to make it a real botherance, but it is there.
Okay. Fair enough.
But that's pretty much it for in terms of actual performance, in terms of like the frame rate and things, resolution and that. But there are also other issues I suppose it still comes in terms of performance, and this is a big one, and it's the loading. The real
loading. No, you're not talking about. Right, I was going to say, because he's a real cunt.
The crisp loading in this game is insanely too much.
Okay, so when we talk about loading screen, where are you experiencing this? Is it if when you're loading into a new mission, or is it when if you die and if you all die and need to respawn from a checkpoint, or is it across the board? Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you hit a loading screen, you might as well get up and have a wank or whatever.
There we go. Right, I'm going to give you a quick run through of booting up the game and getting into a game and dying. Okay, right. Okay. I turn the Xbox on. I put the game in. The game's loading up. We get to the main menu. I press A. It's loading me in. Okay. I then get in. It says, yeah, it's your account. I load your game. Boom. Here comes the first loading screen. Boom. That's a loading screen that can take up to about 2 minutes. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Boom. It loads me into a news feed. I exit the news feed. Boom. I'm in the home world. I go through the home world to get to my javelin. Boom. A little tiny loading screen. And then I get into my menu to get into a mission. I choose what mission. Boom. Another loading screen. This one's probably the longest because it's loading the world.
Yeah.
It could be between 2 and 3 minutes. Boom. I'm in the game. I'm flying around the world. Oh, look, there's a there's a mine over there. I'll go into the mine. Boom. I hit a loading screen. That's about a minute. Okay, I'm in the mine. Oh, here we go. We're all loaded. Lovely. Oh, I'm dead. Oh, I'll have to respawn. Press the respawn button. Boom. Another loading screen.
No.
And that is what you call the Anthem loader.
Bloody
so that
hell.
is a generic starting the game and getting into them. Now, they have patched the game twice and claim to have reduced the loading times. Definitely not the amount, but the loading times. They've instructed the best thing to do, which shouldn't be.
Get it on PC.
Yeah, they're saying is to change your hard drive to a SSD, and that will exactly.
Hell.
They range from about £100 for a terabyte. So
fucking hell, Casey, don't talk bollocks.
And that I've got to say is. Let me just look at my notes quick. I think that might be the biggest.
That might be the Crippler. That might be the Ben
Yeah, I'd say that's the biggest problem in this game is the loading screens. It's a tight contender. The other one we'll talk about that in a bit, but could be patched out. But this is definitely by far its worst problem is that, and that little description of getting into a game and dying. That was no joke. How many loading screens there are?
Doesn't sound ideal in any stretch of the imagination. Let's talk about the design of the game, and I guess in games like Anthem and in these looter grabber type games, also the progression, because leveling up and gear score and player score is all important.
Yeah,
I still don't have quite a bearing on what the game structure is, i.e. I know there's a hub world that you get out your suit and walk around in, but is there? And we're going to use examples Destiny as an example. Yeah. Can you go to like a shared open world like the EDZ that was in Destiny 2 and just bum around doing random tasks, or is it like when you load out and go into your suit, you have to go to X objective and complete that, and then maybe it releases you afterwards? How the fuck does Anthem work? Because I got Anthem. How does Anthem work?
So, like I say, it should be called an SMO, small multiplayer online, because there are hub worlds. There's a hub world that's like the tower, but you will not have as many people in that tower.
But there's other players running around.
There's other players running around in that tower.
In their suits?
In this tiny little room of the tower that's called Fort Tarsis. There's in their little suits, they're running around. At this current time, you can do fuck all in that little room. that is it. The rest of it is a single player. The rest of the fort is where you're getting your missions from, you're interacting with NPCs, and you're getting your lore. Your rich backstories.
All the cutscenes,
right?
Well, not all the cutscenes.
Not all cutscenes, no, but you're getting conversations, and fuck me, there are thousands. This is a a Bioware game, obviously. So
And there's no one else running around in your world at this point.
Not-
It's just you
not
and the
in you.
NPCs.
Just
so
you
you're
and the NPC.
at your own pace, talking to people,
Talking.
doing whatever you
Do what you're doing, but there are a fuck ton of NPCs to a fault. I think there's too many,
Oh.
and they're all telling you their rich backstories, and it's too much in my thing. You know, like when you put like Mass Effect, especially like with me, because I've got this brain where I have to clear everything down.
Yeah, got to listen to every conversation tree. Yeah,
That's it. Well, I'm like that. So there's a when you go into like the fucking what's the one in Mass Effect? The Citadel, is it?
Yes, it's
like that, and you've got to talk to every cunt and hear every backstory. It's too much. It's too much. There's some that are fun and good, but there's a lot of boring ones, and it is too much. So yeah, that part of the game is single player. Like I say, there's this room that you can go in, and it's the shared Destiny world. I'm sure they're going to turn that into something. There's contracts in there and stuff that will be added, but at the minute that is a barren room that people just run and fly about, or you can't even fly, you just jump. So yeah, you start off in this fort Tarsis, then you go to your suit, your javelin suit that's in this fort Tarsis. That when you enter your suit, that then takes you to a menu where you have a list of missions you can do. So you have your main critical missions, they're called, where you will then go off into the world. The world
that's story missions.
That's a story mission, yeah.
Right,
the world is always open, but currently the server is only 4. You only ever have 4 people in this massive open world.
Oh,
so that's why I call it a small SMO, because you can go. There's a thing. You have the main missions, then you have your side missions, which are called contracts, where you get these contracts from the NPCs. And they're just side missions.
Yes.
But again, you can do them. You'll go off into the open world on your own, and it will be with 4. Or you can go out and you can go in your own and solo it. But they advise you to go with 4, like the maximum party, because you get extra XP and better and things. But yeah, there'll only ever be 4. And I don't know if they're ever going to expand that or not. They probably should, because it is a shared open world.
So there's no world events that might kick off.
Yeah, there is. Yeah. So you got
but only for 4 people to do
only
that
for 4
you're
people,
with.
Yeah. So currently in the minute it's only 4. So you have your main missions, your side missions, and then you have strongholds, which is this Destiny's equivalent to strike missions.
Yeah.
These are longer, harder side missions.
Yeah.
That typically end in a boss.
Drop that loot.
They're good for loot. They're good for farming, and they're good for farming basically. And then you have free play, and this is where you go into the world and you assume that it's like
3 others. Sorry,
it'd only ever be 4 of you. It's you and 3 others. So this is your EDZ. This is where you go into the world and you can walk about, and you will run into world events that go on. There'll be like a little mini mission. I think I never did it, but I think you can start the main missions from that. So if you have main mission in your list, you can go into free play and then go and find it in the world, and then it will start, and then it will start from there and go into it. So you can do that, or if you just do it from the main menu, it loads you into where that position is and starts you from there.
Yeah.
A bit like Division, where you through the main world and then you get to the sort of door of it, don't you? And then start the mission. I think you can do it sort of like that, but like I say, I never did. I just went through the main menu world and matchmaked. And that's typically how the missions are structured. That's the way you do it. And like I say, you can do it solo. You can change it to a private mode, so you can solo this. I tried that in the beta, and I got my arse absolutely handed to me and could not get past the boss.
Yeah.
So hard. I don't know if it's been scaled, because I only done 1 mission and it wasn't that hard of a mission, and I got through that with ease. But because I found out that you won't level up as quick, because you don't get XP for sharing, like you do the way you like battle and stuff, you can combo moves with other players. Reviving players gives you XP and stuff.
Yes.
So So they do advise you, like even when you go to play solo, they tell you, they say this isn't the way Anthem was made. You should play this with others.
Right.
So it's not a single player game really.
No.
You can play it, but it's not the preferred way.
No, and that's interesting that those menu prompts are still there.
Yeah, they're all knocking about saying, "Don't do that. Come on, mate, get social."
And so I guess this is obvious. This next question is all anecdotal, response. How was it playing with randoms? Because as far as I know, you didn't have anyone to play with in the full game. And sometimes when you play multiplayer stuff, people go, "Oh, my team was shit," all that stuff. Did you? And this is not a problem with the game, although perhaps because it's designed around a multiplayer only game, you could argue it is. But how was it playing with these randoms?
For the most part, I say it was fine. There was only the odd hiccup where I got someone shit and they weren't helping out. The trouble with this is there are mechanics in the game that are broken, and they don't work for this system. So when I'm playing with a random, let me tell you one's now been patched, I'm glad to say, so this is irrelevant, but what I will say, this is the whole time I've played it, I was playing and experienced this. It's what is called a tether system. And
that tether?
This tether is toilet. And what this tether system was, so you start off the mission and then it gives you a waypoint. You fly to the waypoint. If you stop and don't follow your squad to this waypoint,
I know what you're going to say.
Within 2 seconds of not following your team, a countdown of 25 seconds will appear. And if you don't follow them and get closer to them, it will then bring up a loading screen and tether you to their position.
Oh, it doesn't kill you.
No, it doesn't kill you. No.
But it just
teleports you to. So that you literally cannot stop to sort of
die.
Look into the world. You can't stop and if you see something in there's like a
no photo mode then.
No photo mode yet. It's coming apparently. But,
wow.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the biggest thing, that this countdown came, and it was the most annoying thing ever. So there's nothing but breakneck in this game. I say that's the way I was playing, was soaking it in. That's basically a lie, because you can't. But like I say, if you get full behind, that's it. It's game over. You're just getting tethered straight to where you are. So the trouble is, playing with these people, the missions became a rush, because you load in, boom. The first thing everyone's doing is getting to the enemies as quick as they can to start killing them, because you get the XP for killing them. So you've got no time to stop and sort of take in the world and listen. It's just boom, go, go, go. Let's kill this enemy and go. So it is fine playing with them because you're getting through the missions. But like I say, the mechanic of that tethering really did harbour it playing with randoms, because you can't talk to them. You probably could if you. I don't know.
No, you don't want to.
You don't want to. You don't want to talk to them and say, "Hey, slow down." You probably get called a cunt or something, and they'll be like, "Fuck off, mate."
You get called all sorts.
Exactly. So, yeah, that was the biggest fault. The second biggest problem was the respawn. And this still is. Sorry, to say that tether system has now been patched. That was patched yesterday, I think, or the day before, and now it takes longer. It still apparently happens.
So you still can't separate if you want to, but the countdown, the penalty of moving you is shorter.
The countdown,
longer. Sorry.
And yesterday I did test it, and I was sort of knocking about for at least a couple of minutes, and it still hadn't come up. So I think they've used some decent leeway now, but you can't just fuck off and do your own thing, and then it will eventually do it to you. But it's definitely been sorted. The second biggest problem, which is this is another huge fault, is their reviving system. When you get downed, which, like I say, on this game, it's all based on XP, these missions, because you're getting XP for the kills, so people are rushing to get these kills. I played at least 80% of this game on the hard difficulty, because you get a bit more XP and you level up faster and you get better loot. But it's doable, that the harder thing. It's fine. I got through the whole game or most of the game on hard, but you are getting downed a lot more. You can get one-shotted sometimes. And then this fucking the worst down system I've ever seen. So you get knocked down and you just got a red screen saying you're downed. Your other 3 teammates have no fucking clue that you're downed.
Oh.
So you can't there's no button to press to tell them. They have to physically look for you, which they're in the heat of battle. No one's looking for you. They're trying to get kills to get XP. So you have to wait. It wasn't too bad. I didn't get too much, but on average, I'd say you're waiting for about 2 minutes, I'd say. On average, you might get the odd one that has a little look about.
Can you bleed out and get cancelled out the mission, or you just stay in a down state?
You stay in a down state. You can respawn in some of they have the non-respawn.
The no respawn areas.
Like Destiny, where you cannot respawn there. You have to wait. So in those sections, you might have to wait at least. You can be waiting for up to 10 minutes, I'd say, if it's a hard section. If there's a hard boss and you get downed, you could be there for at least 10 to 15 minutes if no one sees you, and you've got to wait. Otherwise, you've got to quit out the mission and you lose everything. But yeah, the rest you get about 30 seconds, I think, and then you can respawn. But then puts you into a fucking another loading screen. That's another thing. When you get respawned, another loading screen, which is ridiculous. You're in the world. But yeah, that's that respawn. But so there's nothing that they can do. They need to nick something from. I think you do it in Apex, don't you? They have a thing like a ping system, I've heard.
That's it. Yeah. So you can, like, if you see a bit of loot or a gun, you tap one of the shoulder buttons. I can't remember which one it is, and it will say there's a tactical vest there, or we're going over here. If you double hit, and it's. Yeah, it's useful. I guess I've not played it with randomers, right. I'm told, or that feels like a system that works better than voice when you've got no voice if people haven't got it.
That's it, and that's exactly what this game needs. It needs something to tell the others that you've been downed, and that's to help. But in this current, right now, that has not been patched, and that is still a huge motherfucking issue.
So you could be potentially in a boss that's taking 20 minutes. If you die in the first 5 minutes, you're sitting there.
You're sitting there for the rest of it. If no cunt picks you up, you are.
But you still, if they complete, you still get
you still get the loot, so it's not too bad. But you don't get any XP for killing the little mobs, or
no,
you won't get as much XP in that. But yeah, it's a fucking. They know it as well. That's the thing, that they know that it's a problem, and they have said they're working on it. But it needs to. That's one of the things that they need to respond to quick, because that is a big fucking problem.
Yeah, you mentioned loot just there. That you know, that's part and parcel of these types of games. Is that you're constantly striving to unlock either new, in some cases new cosmetics, or in other cases just level based armor or weapons or gear. I mean, some of these games as a service, peak gases, they live and die by their loot system. I know there's been a patch that's gone in lately to address people's concerns around the loot.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the situation like that you've played when you've had the time in terms of your loot? I mean, you're in an Iron Man suit.
Yeah.
And
people were complaining about the loot. Yeah. So, as I said earlier, there are two huge problems with this game. Numero 1 was the loading screens. Numero 2 is the loot. And that's a big fucking problem. Yeah. Because this game is a Steve Gas. And it's a looter shooter. So the main fucking point you're playing this game is to level up and get better loot. Now, that game's not good if the loot you're getting is toot. Now, I think a little bit of this is subjective, you know.
Yeah.
Again, the bandwagon, I think people have jumped on this, but
that hate.
Yeah, that hate wagon. But in defence, it is poor. So you've got these 4 javelins that you use, and they are different in their own terms. You have the Colossus, which is your tank.
Yeah.
You've got, which is pretty much the Hulk Buster.
Get that Hulk out.
You've got the Ranger, which is what you start off with. That's your medium guy. You know, he's your all-rounder.
He's your all-rounder.
Then you've got the Storm, which is your elemental guy. He's the one. He's a hoverer. He hovers and bothers, chucking in lightning. He's the one that's going to fuck your frame rate out because it'll just chuck lightning, fire, ice.
He sounds the coolest.
Yeah, he's definitely the coolest.
Or she could be a woman.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's true. And then you have the I forgot. What's his name? There's a little nippy fucker. Oh, that's going to annoy me. The reason I forgot his name is because he's the last one I unlocked. So you get 4 unlocks, and it takes you up to level. The max level is 30 in this game, and level 26 is when you unlock your last javelin. And the Interceptor, that's it. The Interceptor, his name is, and he's the one he's nippy. He's all about melee, and he flies the quickest. He zips in and out. Basically, he's for zipping in, doing a load of melee damage, and getting out before you get hit. He's your botherer, I'd say. The botherer. So, yeah, you have these 4 javelins. They look cool as fuck when you see them. And then you think, oh, wow, I can't wait to add shit to them. That'd be awesome. You get in the game, and you've got 2 armor suits that you can change. That is it. So when you're getting these drops, you're thinking, brilliant, I'm going to get guns, I'm going to get gear, I'm going to get new suits for my I can change my javelin, I'm going to get a helmet, I'm going to get fucking shaders so I can change the colour of my javelin. You can change the colour of your javelin, but you do not get any of this in the loot. So this loot is literally guns, components, and your gear, which is like on your triggers, you have like two javelin specific weapons. So like, rocket launchers on one, or a shield, or with the thing you have different elements that you can shoot. So you get them. The components, which are like your perks, you get like perks for each Colossus and that each javelin. Sorry. Colossus, sorry. That's because I mained the Colossus. He's my boy. I've stuck with him.
He's the boy.
He's the big boy. These components that are essentially perks, and then the guns. And the guns are good, but they're so minimal, and they all look the same as well. So you've got there's not enough. This is the thing with this game. It's very what's the word? It's sparse. It's very sparse. This game in every field, really. That's what this game needs. It needs padding out. But the gun,
it's spread too thin.
It is. It's spread too thin. It's exactly what it is. You've got 5 sniper rifles in the whole game. You've got 6 assault rifles, a couple of pistols, and when you look at them, they all look the same. There's no big badass gun like the exotics that I'm unlocking are called the Masterworks, which is the equivalent of Destiny's thing. They're starting to look a lot better. Yeah. But for the 40 hours that I've played, all the guns look the same. And that's the thing where people are moaning about, saying that the loot is crap. There's also inscriptions that you get on these guns as well. So this is where the realms of Dave will come in, and this is where he'll tear the loot to bits. Because, like when we used to play Destiny, we used to, as soon as we get a gun, we'll be like, Dave, what does this do? And what do we put on it? And he's the one that will deep delve into all this, this does this so much damage, and this works so well with this. Well, that, like I said, I've not really delved into it because that's not what I play these games for. But that is a fundamental problem that has now been patched as of yesterday. Say that these inscriptions have now changed and the loot will be more rewarding. But yet to play that.
Okay.
But like I say, I think that the loot in this game, which is a pivotal part of the game, is too sparse and not rewarding enough. Because, like I say, you think that you would unlock these cool things that you could do to your suit, and you're just getting the same sort of shit, just a different grade, a bit more powerful, with a couple of different perks, and it's not enough for me.
It's not ideal in any circumstances, and that is a very in-depth look at the nuts and bolts of Destiny, of Anthem. Because you've got fucking Dave in there, and we know this is only part of the puzzle because we've not really spoken about how the game plays. How do the gameplay work? I mean, people will look at it and go, "Looks like Iron Man."
This is the thing. Iron Man. Those two I just said, the loading and the loot, are the two worst. This is by far the best part of the game for me. And I think that this is so good that this is what's hooking me in, and this is what's got me defending the game. The defender, and what's making me think there is potential here. This game is worth playing when it's sorted. Basically, when it's sorted. But this is by far its best hook and best bet. So the combat and the flying combined is what I think make the game so what's the word? Compelling. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Yeah. So yeah, the combat I think is brilliant. The being able to fly. I didn't realise it. I spoke.
What's this overheating?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, in the demo, apparently, when I first booted up this early access thing, it came up with a little message to say if I dived down, then my overheating would go down. But I don't remember that being in the demo.
No, maybe we just.
But that's what I think. Yeah, I think we're brain because I then messaged Dave and said about. I said, "Oh, this new mechanic's good, isn't it?" And he was like, "It was in the demo." I was like,
wow, you should come on the fucking Dimp cast and correct us."
Yeah. So I must have missed that, but yeah, the flying in the world, it just it's been patched since that demo, so it just feels so fluid. And it is just the best flying in any you don't play many games where you're flying. But it does just turn this game into an absolute Iron Man simulator. And you just feel like a boss being able to fly around on the thing, land anywhere you want. Like I was saying earlier, the traversal in this game, like the depth of the game, like going up and down, it's incredible. It just feels so nice to fly. And yeah, you have this overheating where you can only fly for a certain amount of time until this bar heats up, and then you get to an overheating state. But if you sort of go down and skim across the water, it will start to cool down. Or if you go underwater, it sort of resets the bar so you can fly for longer. If you fly through a waterfall, that will reset it, and you can get through the world without sort of having to hit the floor. When you come into enemies, that's when you do have to hit the floor. People do call that a boss.
What's this hovering?
You can hover. Yeah, you can then hover using it. It's a weird control. You click in the left stick to fly, and click in the right stick to hover. So you get some enemies in there that are, I don't know if they're actually humans or not, but they certainly look like humans. But whether they're little aliens that just look like us, I'm not sure. But with them, they can't. They have guns and stuff, but they can't really get at you unless you're on the ground with them. That's where they're doing the most damage. So if you hover around them, you can sort of get on top of them and really pound the shit out of them. So that's where your hovering comes in charge. But the combat in this game, I think the shooting, it's really good for what it is. The difficult thing is there's no cover system, so you have to be quite tactical with how you play it. You can sort of go in all guns blazing, but these mobs do fill up quick and you will get pounded, especially on the harder difficulties. So you do need to sort of zip about, run around. You can sort of run and it's sort of jet boosted. You can jump, so you can't sort of sit there and shoot. you have to
no hunkering down.
No, that's right. You've got to sort of tactically move. The biggest hook on this game, on this combat as well, is this system, which I need to point out is not explained. It might be explained a little bit, but it's a huge factor in this game. It's
no backstory.
There's no backstory to it.
No fleshing.
That's it, and it's a combo system. So as I said earlier,
this is what Dave waffled about after we'd put up our last one. He said, "Did you not talk about the combo system?
Right.
What are you talking about?"
Yeah, and that's the thing with this game. There is no tutorial on that. There's a tutorial at the beginning of the game that gives you the basics, but it does not give you a tutorial on this combo system, and that's where you're having the most fun. So these gear, all of your moves, not your guns, but your gear on each shoulder, your melee, they all have what's called it's like a sort of element, but basically what it's boiled down to is called a primer and a detonator. So say you have like a grenade, like an incendiary grenade, you chuck that at someone and that primes them so they're on fire. You then have...
So that blows up and sets them on fire.
Yes, that's it. They're burning now, so they've got little things saying burning. You then, on your other shoulder, you need to make sure that you have a piece of your gear that's a detonator, and that will be like a homing missile. And what that does is that will then, once that hits, it combines the two of them, and it blows the fuck out of them, and a lot around it. And it's one of these looter shooters that, when you shoot people, you get numbers come up, like the Borderlands. It's like that. When you do these primer and detonators, you get the word combo come up, and it is the most satisfying thing to do. It's so good when you're getting absolutely mauled by everyone and you pull off one of these combos. It's just so rewarding, and you get so much XP for it because it, like I say, it just expands and takes everyone out. But it's just not explained at all. Like, that's one of the biggest and best parts of this game is going through your gear and going, oh wow, I can combine this with this, and I can destroy the shit out of everyone.
So how is it easy to pull off these combinations?
Yes,
or is it something that's difficult?
No, it's not difficult at all, providing you have the right gear. There's little symbols on the side of what you go. They're very minuscule, so you're easy to miss. And like I say, with no telling or no tutorial on how to do it. But once you've done it, it's just hold the left trigger until they've got a little symbol above the head, and then you press the right trigger, and boom, they're away. And it's absolute drill central, and that's what they call it a build. This type of games when you have a character and you set it to, you have like the way it is. So my current build is I'm using this Colossus that uses this primer and detonator. I have a flamethrower on the left side and an electrical lightning strike on the right side, and I use that for at least 80% of the game. And that absolutely I don't know if this happens to everyone, but every game every mission I've played, I've always come out with the most XP. Right. So I think that is the ultimate daddy what I'm using, because it absolutely destroys everyone. And it's easy to pull off, and anyone can do it because they all have these elements. They all have these primers and detonators, but no one knows. People know what they are, but not enough people know because it's not explained.
Yeah.
And that is the best part of the game, is that the combat, the going through, it does get repetitive, but no more than these games do. That's what it was bugging me with the reviews, is people were saying, oh, it's too repetitive. I think back to D1, Destiny 1. That fucking game was literally go to a door, wait for that door to open, and kill waves of enemies. I don't remember anything other than that. There was no other... Oh, I got on a Sparrow and drove for a little bit.
Sparrow, you got patrols.
But
world events.
That was the fucking game. This has a few. You get there's puzzles in this game. You've got, they're not huge. They're only little parts. You've got puzzles. You go to different realms. There's some big boss fights in this game. when it boils down, it could be classed as repetitive, but I wouldn't say it's nowhere near as repetitive as D1. That's the bottom line. But that is by far, its combat and flying mechanics are so immersive that they're definitely the biggest hook and best part of Anthem.
So you mentioned those combinations and whatnot.
Yeah.
What about just shooting your gun, or is that not really an interesting strategy? Because I think, especially when I played the demo and you did as well, we didn't know about these combos and whatnot, so we were just firing our guns. Or is that more like a side activity
for me,
that you're just going to be?
I was using the gear a lot more than I was using my guns because of this primer and detonator system. That's the thing with the loot. Again, the guns aren't that interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I've only just got to max level where I'm now. It's now the end game, and this is another thing we need to talk about. The end game. And part of this end game is unlocking what is the equivalent of exotics, and that's when you're getting the better guns I might find that I'm using them a lot more than the gear because they're more interesting and they have elemental damage, maybe. But no guns have this, so they're just box standard guns. The ones I have. So
yes.
I use them now and again because your gear is locked. Well, they're both locked to cooldown timers. So you use them and you will run out. So you have to revert to your gun or melee.
Right.
The melee's on the cooldown timer as well. So you have to revert to your gun sometimes. But yeah, they're not anything. Certainly, the guns and the gun play in Destiny is better. It's not that sort of finesse.
No, don't pop the heads. And all that sort
there's
of
nothing
stuff.
like that. No. So yeah, the guns do take a sort of back foot for me. It might just be the way I'm playing. I don't, some people might not even bother with the gear and just stick to the guns. But like I say, it looks like the guns are going to get more interesting now that I'm up to what they call masterworks, and they're the equivalent of getting exotic guns. But the 40 hours through the campaign and that, they definitely took a back foot for me.
Interesting. Let's talk endgame.
Let's talk endgame.
I know you've mentioned earlier that this is not... You don't play the game for the endgame typically, but there is obviously a version of an endgame there for Anthem. How did you find it, and how do you think it will cater towards the peak gas crowd?
In its current state, it is toilet. And this is also, this will be the third biggest problem. So we've got the loading screens, the loot, and the fuck all empty endgame. So currently in its current form, as of right now today, the first as of
1st of March 2019, 10:30 GMT.
GMT.
It's GMT, not BST yet.
Yeah. Always reminds me of Triple H Greenwich Mean Time, because when he
from Greenwich, Connecticut.
That's it. Always reminds me of that. Don't know why.
Hunter, hell, fucked it.
Currently, as of today, there are 3 missions, 3 strikes, strongholds they're called in this realm.
Yep.
And that's is all you've got, bar replaying what you've already played. So when you get to level 30, you then unlock what's called the end game difficulties. So you have easy, medium, hard, which I've been playing hard because I'm double hard.
Of course.
When you get to level 30, you then unlock what's called Grandmaster set. So you have Grandmaster 1, Grandmaster 2, and Grandmaster 3.
Hang on. So once this new mode unlocks, you've done easy, medium, hard. That's 3 difficulties. Yep. You've then got an additional 3 within Grandmaster. So this sounds a bit like Diablo 3 in that they have all these insane difficulty levels.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
So how it works, I haven't really explained this yet, but it's probably people would realise. But yeah, the way the leveling up system works in this game is you have your main character, you level him up to level 30, And very much like Destiny, you have a gear level, and The Division, you have a gear level.
Yes.
Okay, so you're leveling up your character, and at the same time, you're getting new loot. This loot's then numbered, and the bigger and better loot you get, your overall number gets higher as well.
Boosted,
so you're raising that to about 500, I think. It might go slightly over 500, I believe, but that's the daddy number you want to get to. So when you get to level 30, you will be at about level 400, I think. So yeah, in the gear level, roughly. So when you unlock the end game, this is like probably about just under 10 hours after you've completed, or probably more actually, 10 to 20 hours after you've completed the campaign.
How long does that campaign take?
I've been told it can take anywhere between 12 to 15 hours if you just played that. If you just breakneck the story, 12 to 15 hours. Took me 25 because I was getting deep dive. Now, this is another problem. Or we wanted to talk about this. There is a mission in the game which is referred to as the Wall. I think Dave mentioned it in our Dimp group, where it's the grindy bit. Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was a good idea. What this is you're going through, like I said, in the menu system, you have the missions. You go to a main mission, and then that main mission tells you to go to free play and complete a load of challenges. So you get the mission is that you've got 4 tombs in the open world, and to unlock the doors of those 4 tombs, you have 4 challenges to complete, and they're easy challenges, but they're grindy. So it'd be get 15 kills with a gun, get 15 kills with a melee, get 15 kills with a thing, complete so many world events. So I feel that it's good because it's sort of tutorializing you, like the game. It's showing you how to use the mechanics and how to start world events. It's letting you have a little taste of everything. But because that mission probably took me about 2.5 hours to do. So people were going, it's grindy, I don't like it. And now you need to remember that this is the Bebans that is Bioware. People moaned about the ending of Mass Effect 3, saying they didn't like it, and the cunts fucking changed it for us.
Yeah, they did.
So what have they done? They've listened to the moaning, and they've gone, right, people don't like this, let's cut this short. So now, instead of when I went into it, I started from... This is about 2-3 hours into the game, I think this is. Okay. And then when I've done it, it starts you from the dot. So I've got to get all these kills from 0. Now, it starts you from when you're level 3, which is about an hour into the game. So you've got about 2 hours, and it's picking up all these... It's picking up all these stats, so every kill you get, it's adding already to this mission. Yeah. So that mission's going to been cut down now.
I see. And it's already accumulating.
It's already accumulating, and that's cutting an hour and a half out of the game for me. So I thought it was a bad decision in my part, but I just wanted to get that across. But yeah, you was talking about discussing the length, yeah. So about 12 to 15, but like I say, it took me 25, I think, to complete the story because I was doing side activities and things like that. Yeah, I reckon.
That's understandable when there's all that sort of stuff going on. Is there any other business? We've not, because it's
getting on the line.
There's an awful lot to this. Well, it's not. I don't mind about the length, but you said these reviews are too long.
No, it needs to be this one. I could not have got this out.
It's record time.
It's record time. It is. It can't be. I could probably do a brief 6-minute rundown of all these things, but you can't deep delve, like you say, into this. No. On a plus side, I'll give you a plus. They took so much shit from Mass Effect Andromeda about the facial animations that it is now absolutely incredible. This is I'd say this is not on par, just slightly beneath, but definitely up there with LA Noire. the animation, the facial animations in this game, they've really gone, right, we got fucking ripped to shreds for that. We need to focus on this so much. They focused so much on this that they fucking forgot to put decent loot in.
That's about 10 years old, that game.
Exactly. But do you remember how good those facial animations were?
I remember it being good. I'm trying to think now.
I suppose...
I think Uncharted 4 had really good... That had superb facial animations.
It's incredible. It's really good. Even just speaking to NPCs, that it really does stick out really well. And because of the sort of impressive graphics, they go so hand in hand. And I'd also say the positivity of this game is the cutscenes. You get the cutscenes all in this game are all in game. So when you have your javelin and you change the colours of it, you make it look like Iron Man. When these cutscenes happen, it's you in your suit. And
it's all reflected and result back to default. Yeah,
exactly. You're getting your cutscene. That was a big fault that you said for Shadow of War, was it?
One of those Middle Earth games. You would put all this lovely loot on. I think it was Shadow of War, and then you'd go to the cutscene and you'd be standing there in his default fucking kit, and I was like, well,
yeah,
do that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a plus for it. Other than that, I think we have pretty much, sound's fine. Sound is there's like an overarching soundtrack to it. It heats up when battle heats up. It's not winning any awards. It's serviceable, yeah. But pretty much, I think we have covered most things on the pros and cons side. I don't think there's too much. There's nothing that sticks out for you that you've heard.
No, I mean, I've not played anywhere near enough to think about. I mean, there's been obvious criticisms of the game, and I think one of the ones it stems from is this identity crisis, i.e. should they have, they were never going to do this, but could they have committed to a single player game in this world, which may have worked really well without all the other bits and pieces in it. Obviously traversing around sounds great in the javelins, and they've got different abilities and whatnot. You mentioned the combos. Loot has been a constant issue that people have mentioned. We've not talked much about the mission design. I don't know how that works, whether it's a little bit light on its heels.
I think it's serviceable. People will call it repetitive, but I think they do enough to change it up. It is your standard sort of go to this waypoint, kill these enemies, go to the next waypoint, do the same. But I think they add a lot. There's little things like there's these things called shaper relics that you have to go around and collect orbs whilst you're getting waves. You put them in. Then you'll go into a cave and there'll be a door where there's a puzzle you have to figure out to get into it. So you've got people flying around trying to figure out these puzzles while you've got things up your arse. Then there's missions where it goes into sort of like an alternate reality thing and you get shipped out to another. So there's variety. It's just not too much variety. Like I said, this whole game is sparse. It's thinned out. It needs more of everything. But that
boss-wise, is it interesting bosses, or are we talking the classic sort of bullet sponges?
Which needs to be discussed, is the characters. Actually, it's a good segue. The characters in this game, that's another thing. I think this is subjective. This is, I thought there was some.
It's all subjective.
Yeah, it is really. Yeah, there's some strong characters in this game. The main one of the good decisions that they made is you're a character. With Destiny, you're voiceless, aren't you? You're not. You're just an avatar. You don't. You don't.
But do Do you have any agency like you do in a Mass Effect game? Like, I know you can make dialogue choices, but
Yeah, you only have two
there's no like mission objective type things you can make.
No.
I guess it's toned back in a little bit.
You correct.
For those saying, "Oh, Bioware," that means I can make decisions.
Yeah, no. At first, you think that it's going to be like that because you start off and you have a choice of pilot, so you get to change. Like, there's only presets. There's no customization, but you can choose what you look like as the person. And you have a male or a female voice, so you do have a sort of personality in the game. You're this sort of. I obviously picked the man. Being a man, I wanted to be a man. Yeah. So he was sort of quite like a bit of a cheeky chap and gets on. But
apparently the woman character's a right slapper.
Oh, really? Well,
sleeps around, does all these. And
that's the biggest. That's the biggest fault. Actually, I lied. This is the biggest fault in the Bioware game. There's so much flirting in this game, and you can't fuck a single one of them. Now, Bioware games are renowned for fucking.
Yeah.
You could fucking get Dragon Age, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could.
I fucked the shit out of everyone in Mass Effect. Old Commander Shepard was an absolute salty sea dog. He was.
Had all sorts of disease. But he spread his seed about.
But every bitch that you come across in this game is a sauce pot that's just flirting, and you can't do shit. You can't fuck any of them. It's livid. And that's not like he's not a married character or anything. He ain't got some bit waiting for him. He is a single stud that is just like...
He's a bachelor.
He's Iron Man. He's a fucking playboy. And he don't fuck anything. But, the characters. So, I think it was a good move being an actual character and having a voice and a bit of a personality. There are some good, strong supporting cast. I think you have... in particular 3 or 4 main characters that are your closest compadres in the game, and I think the 4 of them are good, strong characters. As I said before, there are a fuck ton of NPCs, and the majority of them are boring and forgettable.
Fucking colour.
Yeah, that's it. The biggest downfall with the character thing is the main antagonist, which it's very much a similar situation to D2. What's that slop's name?
Like Cabal, Emperor,
someone. He's a bit like that. The baddie in this game remind me of the Justice League baddie. What was his fucking name?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Steppenwolf.
Yeah, he's that.
He doesn't do that, but it feels like that's all he's saying.
He's just typical shit, boring character, and there's a good boss battle with him, but that's it. As an actual character, he's shit. He's bland, he's forgettable, and that's the main story of the game. Is, like I say, light versus dark. This is supposed to be the Darth Vader of Anthem, and he lives fuck all up to. He's the Steppenwolf in this game. He's a forgettable shit, and it's a shame because, like I say, the main character and the supporting cast I think are strong characters. They're likable. I want to see what happens in whatever they've got planned for this next.
Just not against Steppenwolf.
Just not against Steppenwolf, mate. He's fucking toilet. So characters. I'd say strong, but definitely some shits in there. And that is pretty much everything.
So that's the lot.
That is the lot. So we've got some pros, we've got some cons, we've got a lot of cons.
It's very low level. This has been a real deep dive.
It has been a real deep dive. So I'm going to give you my overall ending thoughts and impressions. So too long didn't read or didn't listen. Too long didn't listen. This game has potential. There is a rich, exciting world they have made. I think people need to experience it and play, just to get the hooks of how it feels, and just play through the campaign for 15 hours. that will make you decide whether you want to continue with this or not.
I've already lost £45.
That being said, like I say, it's the potential of this game that drew me in. It's the feedback I'm getting from the team telling me what's to come, what they're sorting, how quick they're doing it. That's took a huge this given me motivation to stick with this game and it's definitely a huge factor why I've chose to stick with my pre-order, get all this negativity out and stick with it. Therefore, that being said, like I say, there's a lot of potential here. That being said, this game has too many problems with it. If you're buying this at full price, in its current state, this game is not worth... I would not recommend this game at full price.
Right.
If someone was to say, should I get Anthem? I'd say no. I'd say wait, because luckily there are other options you can do with this EA Access. You could pay... I paid £2 for a month's trial and I played 10 hours.
Get 10 hours.
Do that and see how you feel. That's what I would recommend. I would not recommend someone to go out and spend 45 quid or whatever it is at the minute and play. It's not worth it. There's too many fundamental problems that need sorting. There's too much, and they're fun. They are fundamental. The loot system, the loading screens, the mechanics not being not being explained. These cons outweigh the positives, unfortunately, and this is why it's failed. But throughout all that shit, I do still feel there's potential here.
Yeah.
And that's my overall thoughts.
That's the potential.
The potentialer.
It's a seed that's been planted. Those that are scared to drop 45 or 40 odd quid, it appears to be dropping by the day in price. So you may be able to pick it up cheaper.
The thing, when I've boiled down to this, people spend, like, I say that it's not worth the money. I've played this. I've just completed the story. I'm just about to hit max level, and like I say, I'm in the end game now. Yeah. I've played it for 35 hours. I reckon, another 5, and I'll be well into the end game. That's a pound an hour.
It's a pound
is that good value? I suppose it is, isn't it?
It is, but
it's if you're enjoying those 40 hours. That's, I suppose, the main thing. Am I enjoying those full 40 hours? And in all honesty, there were, but not the whole 40. There was hours I was like, right, this is
this is an annoyance.
It's annoying. So in its current state, I would not recommend buying it full price just yet, but certainly have a go of it at the lower price entries you can get it for to make your decision if the hook, which I think is its strongest part, is strong enough for you.
Interesting. So what is Anthem's official grading?
This is where you've all been waiting for. Casey on the edge of his seat.
He's been waiting a long time.
The positivity, the defender, we call him.
He's seen the likes. He's seen the
retweets. He knows.
He's expecting heavy metal to be coming his way. Some sort of award.
There you go. So, Casey on the edge of his seat. My official grading for Anthem is a 6 out of 10. It's a hard, bitter blow to give it a 6 because, like I say, I enjoyed what I played, but as playing it, critiquing it, and when I compare it to other games, I compare this to the likes of fucking Red Dead. I know it's a completely different game, but
it is a different game. But I mean, what you said, the main takeaways for the game you had was that it's the story and the characters and that sort of made it, or not a single player game.
No,
the narrative that's its strongest point, and if its strongest point can't live up to the likes of a Red Dead or the likes of God of War,
then it's falling short. And again, back to that identity crisis. These typical games are typically for the Daves. They're for these grind merchants, and this game ain't set for that. So That's why it's getting the 6s, the 5s, and it's totally deserved of it, because that game it's not that type of game. It has an identity crisis. It should be a single player when it's not.
No.
So unfortunately, it has to. The cons outweigh the pros. Unfortunately, even though I had a good time with it,
I can learn to understand you much better.
it's a 6, I'm afraid, but it's not the end of it. This is the good thing about Anthem. It's currently a 6. You know, we could do a re-review in a ye's time, and it won't be.
You could roll a dice.
Exactly.
And it could get.
It won't be the same. It'll probably be worse. So it'll get its 4 it deserves. But that's the thing with these gas games. You know, this isn't the end of Anthem. I hope and I pray for it. It's good, and that I can say to y'all when you all buy it, I can go see.
Yeah.
But
I didn't promise the world.
no, that's right.
You didn't get a medal. I didn't promise that you would definitely like this. I laid out clearly what was right and wrong, and you took the plunge yourself. That's the lowest score you've handed out.
It is, isn't it?
It's a 6 out of 10. The second lowest was Batman, a Telltale series, pick up a bronze.
Oh. Yeah, it's sad, but yeah, I'm just glad that this wasn't a single player game, and that's it. Because it would be a bit of blow. It would. That's it.
At least you know, or at least we assume, they've got 6 months to the rest of this year to dig it out and try and make something out. Because what I've seen is we had this similar situation with a Sea of Thieves. Like last year, it was like, right, that's come out, not the best. In the last sort of month or two, there's been people streaming a Sea of Thieves getting the highest views on Twitch. Yeah. So it's changed and evolved over time. People are now into it. I've seen Sir Dave lurking on there a couple of times, and I say no game's dead. A game of this ilk with a Pete Gas type tag on it has a chance to redeem itself, not even redeem itself, but to pull itself out the fire and dig itself up the rankings. If this was a God of War and it come out like this, it'd be dead in the water.
I think that would have swayed. That would have the poison would have set in, and I would have been to say I would have gone. Nah, that's not for me. It's done. But it's this promise. This, like I say, you were talking about earlier. I think like games like The Division and that they have these. What they call them, the rollout, the plan.
Yeah, the roadmap. Yeah.
That's it, the roadmap. These have got one for the next 90 days. And they're talking about these huge updates that are coming in 90 days. So, you know, this game could be completely different in 90 days. I'm going to say 90 days more. But yeah, it's got potential. Like we say, it could be a different game, but I don't know how many years this was in development. I think someone quoted 8 to me. I don't know if that's sure. But if this game has been in development for 8 years, it should not be in the state that it's in now. And
the trouble is that the thing you'll notice, or the thing that I've noticed with EA published games is anything released before the end of the fiscal year, i.e., before March. Like we had Andromeda come out, and it wasn't ready. And that was a game that really couldn't afford to not be ready because it wasn't a peak gas. It wasn't the game as a service. It was the game you play is the game you finish. Whereas in Anthem's case, there's an expectation that it'll improve over time. But again, it's been put out towards the back end of February, before the end of the financial year, to get sales and boost their financial forecast, their financial actuals. And, you know, maybe it could have done with 6 months more in the country.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it does fit.
But the trouble is, like you said, there's changes they've already made that they wouldn't have made had it not been out in the...
No, that's right.
So it's it's not as simple as...
No, that's right. No, it is. And now it's out there. It's got the bad reception. I just hope that it's given enough time. The people have been saying, like, oh, please don't give up on this. And the developers have been really nice. They even made a video the other day to reassure fans, look, you know, we couldn't do this. We couldn't, you know, bin this game right now. We'd be mis-selling, wouldn't we? We're selling you a game as a service. And if we was to bin it now, then that's illegal. We can't do that. So they're assuring us that it will be sorted. I just hope they can fulfil their promises that they've told us. I'd also like to end on a positive note that I forgot to mention earlier, that there are no loot boxes in this game. However, there are small microtransactions for cosmetic items only that can be obtained in-game currency.
Can you get those cosmetics from playing?
Yes, you can. It will take you fucking long. So, if you want to spend the moolah to get all it is currently is shaders and one extra armor. That's the thing. The armor should be in the loot, and I think that's a change I hope they make. But currently, the armor change is in this in-game this currency that can be obtained through microtransactions. So EA did put their mitts on it, but there is nothing here that you do not need to spend this money at all. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think they have any plans for any paid DLC either. I believe all the updates are going to be free.
Yeah. Same with the Division 2.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's pretty much EA's way now. They're doing that with.
I think a lot of games, unless you're Call of Duty, I don't think you're getting away with that these days.
No, true.
Because people are like, hang on a minute, you've given me this game and it's done, but then you've got in-game transactions, and now you want me to buy a season pass for 35 quid.
Yeah.
I don't think it works.
No, that's true.
Games. I mean, Destiny is the absolute king sinner of that nonsense practice. They've bled hundreds of pounds from Dimp members just through their pathetic practices, and it's good that EA are not going to do that, and other games like Division they're going in a different direction. That's all you can ask for.
So really. A little positive there for you. That there's nothing there that you will need to do. Nothing you can't obtain through playing the game, and that's the main thing, isn't it?
Cool. Absolutely. Well, that was the deepest of dives into the world of Anthem. Clocks in. I haven't got the timings, but I'm imagining it's the longest review we've ever done.
We did a little bit of waffling, but we've just about to hit the 2 hour mark. So I reckon this is a good hour 45. No, probably less than hour 50. I reckon this might be a big.
And I was told the reviews are too long by you.
Yeah. I'll try and do a 6-minute one and see if I can bullet point. It just won't be the same. People want to know what this game is about.
They want long-form, deep-dive opinions so they can make an informed choice, or at least
I just hope the cunts listen to it. They give me all this shit about buying it. They go, I ain't fucking listening to that. That's longer than the fucking game.
They've got nothing better to do. So if they're not listening to that, then they're doing something worse. So that's their bad. Well, look, we'll be back with our next Dimp Digital feature.
Or a review.
I'm hoping these are what's in the pipeline. I'm hoping to get a Crackdown free review of Logan at some point, and I think that will be interesting because he's not reviewed a game in years.
No, I think it'd be quite interesting in the terms that it's only, again, like this game, it's only costing £2 to play it. Will that be a huge factor?
Has that changed his opinion of it? And that'll be fascinating to get. But he's a slow fucker, so even the basic games he'll struggle with. But we've got plenty in the pipeline. Exactly. I'm definitely reviewing Jurassic Park. That is.
Did you ever do Trials Fusion?
I think I did Trials Fusion. Yeah, I gave it a silver 8 out of 10 back in the day.
Pete on it.
So get that fucking god on there, Pee Wee, the best
incredible
Trials player I've seen.
Wizardry.
He sometimes streams on Mixer. Pete, OTT Pete on Mixer.
I'll get him on the Dimp, and we are.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I mean, trouble with him is he might start invoicing me for his time. And
busy boy.
Within hours. But I think basically he needs someone to go around there and set him up. That's what he needs. He's not, he's not most cleverest little spud when it comes down to the old technology.
Right.
So we'll get him logged in. We'll get his microphone live and hopefully get him the Dimp. But he is a godlike player. But for now, you can head over to Mixer and see what he's doing. And we'll be back with our next piece of content, and the fantasy gaming league is well underway. The transfer window opened today on the 1st of March, and people are making transfers. So maybe we'll sneak an update in at some point. But I think that's it, Mr. Adkins. Yep. Anthem in the books, 6 out of 10. Casey Hudson not quite pulled the trigger on his gun that's pointed to his head, but I think. He's realised that he's got a chance. He's heard the potential chat and thinks, right, let's try and make this work. But nothing more for us to say, though, apart from thanks for your time and ta-da.